Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches. And this week's watches, there's two this week's watches. This is episode 50.2. Now, I really wanted to end this year on episode 50. And as you guys know, if you've seen the last episode that we did yesterday, Friday, today's Saturday if you're watching this, we managed to get in like 24, 25 watches in a few days, which is just insane. So because of that, we split it into two drops, but I really wanted it to end episode 50 for this year. So this is the final drop of 2021, and what an incredible year it's been. As I said in the last video, I'm going to do my best to do some sort of update video, hopefully next week, to go out after Christmas as a sort of round off for the year, and just a thank you and sort of updates and all that. But I just want to briefly say here, what an incredible year it's been. Thank you all so much, and 2022 is going to be so exciting. We have so much planned and there's a lot of changes coming, whilst the core of what we do is always going to stay the same. We're always going to provide this kind of variety, and this is what you've come to expect from us. And today, I think we've nailed that. We have the variety. We have from brand new to vintage to very special to something that you would very rarely see, and everything in between. So I'm really proud to bring this drop to you. I do want to say, if you're watching this, it is Saturday as of the time when you're watching it. If you're watching it on the day it came out, of course, Christmas is closing in. If you're outside of the UK, it is now too late to order in time for Christmas. It won't arrive in time for Christmas. So be very aware of that. You're more than welcome to obviously continue ordering as long as you're okay with the fact it might not even come until 2022. So please bear that in mind. If you're in the UK, the final delivering date, the shipping date, is the 22nd of December. That doesn't mean if you order 22nd December in the evening at 8 PM, you're going to get it before Christmas. 22nd of December is the last day to ship, so please get your orders in before midday on the 22nd of December, so we can do everything we can to guarantee it before Christmas. Obviously, at that point, we do everything we can and we ship it. We are very reliant on the postal service doing their part. So if it doesn't arrive before Christmas, I'm very sorry, but there's only so much we can do when you leave it this late. So please get your orders in this weekend so we can ship them out Monday for you to get them Tuesday. So you're going to skip that, hopefully, manic rush of everyone trying to get their deliveries, not just from us, obviously, across the whole of the UK, but everyone else as well. So please keep that in mind. And just before we move on to the watches, which is obviously what you're here to see, in terms of opening hours and days and everything like that, we are in the office until, I believe it's Thursday, the 23rd of December. So you can book your appointment to come and view any watches that you see on the website. We are appointment only, so please make sure you email us or contact us to arrange a booking, and we can do that until that date. Then after that, so from the 24th of December, we are not coming back to the office until the 4th of January. We'll still be working, so we'll still be answering emails and doing all that, but a much reduced capacity, so please keep that in mind. I don't want to, like last year, I had actually someone trying to call me on Christmas Day to order a watch. Don't be that person. Just do it on the website or send an email. Wait till the next day or the day after. I will get back to you, and I'll probably be quite drunk, but clearly I am already, which sleep drunk. That's what it is. Anyway, I can't even remember what I was saying. Let's just skip all that and get on with what you're here to see, the watches, right? And on wrist, I am wearing a 1918 Movado in sterling silver. I sold this watch quite a while ago to a very good customer. You're probably watching this. And I forgot who I sold it to. Terrible. And he bought it back in because he wanted to sort of sell it on, and he's looking to acquire other things. I was so happy about it. So this has been added to the personal collection, which hopefully we'll get around to doing a state of the collection to end the year as well. There's too much planned. We'll see. We'll see if we can get it all done. But I absolutely love this watch, and I'm very happy to have it back. I mean, how crazy? 103 years old, and it still tells the time. Not particularly that well, but it still tells the time, and that's impressive. So now that all that is out of the way, I feel very out of breath. I'm talking way too fast, but let's get on to the most special watch on the table, in my opinion, and one that I think is incredible. Are you ready for this? It is a 1958 Omega Seamaster Ranchero. Let's have a closer look. And here we go. In the vintage world, we really do say you pay for quality and condition, and this is exactly one of those examples. This is a beautiful Omega Seamaster Ranchero from 1958, and as you can see, is one of the Seamaster Rancheros rather than just Ranchero. And the story goes, and again, something to keep in mind is a lot of this is theory based on what people know rather than confirmed 100% definite facts. But the story goes that the Ranchero line was not selling very well, so towards the end of the production run, any watches left they took back and added Seamaster to help sell it as part of the Seamaster range, because that was a range that was doing very well at the time. That's how the story goes, and I personally think it to be true. And it's also quite interesting. Obviously, this one's 1958, which makes it quite an early one, yet it has Seamaster on the dial. The theory goes with these kind of ones is that, as the story goes, the Rancheros didn't sell very well, so it's not surprising that still towards the later days of production, they still had old ones left that hadn't sold, that had maybe been sitting in a shop window for ages. As we've seen with some earlier watches we've sold, you can see the date of production and date of sale were 11 years apart, even from the likes of Patek Philippe with the pocket watch. You know, when you consider that, it's not hard to believe that a couple of years of this sitting in a shop window unsold, and it went back to Omega to have Seamaster put on the dial, it's quite believable. One thing to keep in mind with Rancheros is, ideally, you want an extract from the archives from Omega. As you can see, we have one here for this watch. And what you want to look out for is under the model, ideally it should always say Ranchero. The reference, as you can see, 2990, caliber 267, very important, movement number all stated there. Production, October 24th, 1958, and it was delivered to Germany. We don't know when it was sold, unfortunately, but at least we have all that information, which is great to see. But the highlight of this is definitely the condition, and that dial and those hands, all original. Yes, you've got the tarnish, that's to be expected. I'd be quite concerned if it didn't have that, and these are often an indication of originality. Not always, but definitely things to look out for. You've got the beautiful loom, which has turned this almost pumpkin colour, which I think just looks great, matching in the hands. Original crown, original Omega sign crystal. Nice case back there, you can see waterproof stated, very nice condition movement. We paired it on one of our Strap Tailor suede straps, which you can get over on the website. But it is a gorgeous watch, a beautiful example, and one that I don't think will last long, and it will be a highlight of something we've sold. Not because it's the most expensive or anything like that, but because of how special of an example this is in this condition. So we've talked about the reference, we've talked about the year, we've talked about the movement. Now we need to talk about dimensions. So let's put it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 6 3/4, nearly 7-inch wrist, as I said in the last video. Come Christmas, it will probably be 7 inches with all I'm eating, but here we go, 36mm by 44.5mm lug to lug. Beautiful dimensions, and it wears surprisingly bigger because of the fact that it is mostly dial. There is no bezel, there's nothing like that, so it all just feels, the dial fills the case basically. Only 9mm thin, which is super thin, sits beautifully on the wrist, and 18mm lug, so endless options there. A really, really fine example, and I think you'll be very hard pressed to find a better one. So if it's still available and you've been considering one, I would say snap it up before it's too late, because they're only going one direction, and that's up. From there, let's switch gears to something that couldn't be further from it, in my opinion, and that is the Ming 1901 with a very special movement. What a change of pace from the Ranchero to this, and this is awesome. This is the Ming MOD or Mod 1901, and what makes this one so special is, one, obviously you've got that fume crystal or whatever they call it, where it's translucent. It looks absolutely awesome. The case is that iconic Ming case, which just looks brilliant. We flip it over and wow, what a good looking movement. Now this is a movement designed for Ming by Swartz-Etienne. The caliber is the MSE 100.1, beautifully manually wound, beautifully finished. I mean, yeah, I wish you could wear this watch this way round, because that would just look amazing. Wow, I could stare at that all day long. Anyway, that is, for me, the highlight of this movement. Now, it was quite a bold move by Ming, because this was released, well, this one's from June 2019, but this was released not long after a few of their first initial models. So to go from their price range at that time to this price range when it came out, which I believe was around £6,000 retail, or maybe even more, I think it might have been close to 7, is a very bold move, and that is a great price to get this kind of movement finishing and this kind of design, in my opinion. Now obviously the prices of these have certainly gone up. There has not been many that have ever come up for sale, so it's very difficult to price. But when you look at the percentage increase on most Ming watches, this is still a very good value when you compare the percentage increases. Hopefully you get what I mean by that. But we've paired it here on this awesome Ming strap it comes with. It comes with multiple others in the box as well. So you're definitely going to be spoiled for choice. And these straps are fantastic with that curved end. They fit really well and they're really high quality, beautifully done. I believe done by Jean Rousseau, but I could be wrong on that. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. Quite a unique sort of wrist experience really because of the size at 38.5 by 42.5 lug to lug. So it's a very short watch on the wrist. It's very interesting. 10.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. As with these Mings, they are the curved end link, so you need to ideally get a Ming strap or a curved end link strap to fit nicely, but a really good looking watch. And definitely one to check out if you've been on the hunt for one. I don't know if you're ever going to find another, to be honest. Let's stick to Ming. Let's go on to the Ming 1801 on a bracelet. Now on to another Ming, and this is a really, really cool watch. Diver watch rated to 1,000 meters, I believe, which is quite bonkers. I remember when this came out, it came out in a few different variants. They're all black, which was really cool. I definitely liked it. And the price at retail, I wish I'd got one, because we are probably the most affordable one on the market right now. This is a worn example, so there's definitely some scratches, but still very good condition, and you're going to save yourself a chunk compared to others. But this is the 1801 H41 as it's known. Inside is an ETA 2824-2, and this one is from December 2020, titanium with its original bracelet. It does come with its box and paperwork plus spare links. We're just waiting for them to arrive. I have seen a picture of them, so it's all good. You will get the spare links, and hopefully we'll get them in time for Christmas, so you'll have it all ready, but that's something to keep an eye, to be aware of, sorry, that you might not get the links until after Christmas, but rest assured it does come with them, so it's not the end of the world. But a really, really cool example. Very, very nice, very decent on the wrist as well with how it wears, and that's what Ming do really, really well. But their primary thing, in my opinion, is their design, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. And I think it's why they've become so sort of followed in the watch collecting community. Whether you like it or not, they've definitely done something right, and they've hit the park running really, so it's great to see. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. It won't quite do up for my wrist, so it's probably more for like a 6.5, maybe a little bit smaller, but as I say, all spare links will be included. This is 40mm by 46mm lug to lug, 13mm thick and 20mm lugs again, curved ideally for your straps, but a good looking watch. On a black strap it'd look great as well, but the bracelets really comfortable and very well built, so I don't think you can go wrong. Check it out. Now let's jump back to vintage with a very special Helvetia, or Helvetia, or however you want to say it. That's the name of the brand, with a Valjoux 72. Now onto a very special salmon dialed watch. This is the Helvetia chronograph. You can see really gorgeous salmon dial. I'm trying to get that in the light. There you go, and you can see the blued of the hands, the lume, the numerals. Really gorgeous blue tachymeter scale around the outside. It is one good looking watch, and I think beautifully done. One thing that's really interesting, if I'm catching the light, you can probably see that. Like it's like an indentation in the glass, much more common on pocket watches from back in the day. And the rumor is, and this is what John at Antique Watch told me, that it used to be so if you put it down like that, it wouldn't roll. Apparently that's the reason, I don't know. But this is actual glass. This isn't, you know, obviously not sapphire, it's not mineral, it is actual glass, so that's something to keep in mind. Quite unusual, quite rare. But inside, beating away in here, is the Valjoux 72, a sort of famous movement. And often the watches, just for having a Valjoux 72, demand a premium because it's found in so many incredible watches that are much more expensive, especially when you go take a look at the price of this watch. I think it will surprise you. But circa 1960s, it's 37mm, it's a really good looking watch. Let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on wrist. It really is perfect. I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better looking chronograph with a Valjoux 72 that is this affordable. There will definitely be some options out there, but in this kind of condition with a dial like this, I don't think so. 37mm by 44mm lug to lug, really well done. Only 12mm thick, which is very thin for a chronograph, and interestingly 20.5mm lugs. So we have a 20mm strap in it at the moment. You can see it's okay, there's a tiny bit of play, but it's 20.5. I mean, yeah, How odd. But you can get a 20mm in there. You could probably squeeze a 21, but this works with the spring bar. So yeah, go check it out on the website. Sticking to chronographs, let's have a look at a very gorgeous Bremont. Next up is a really good looking Bremont. This is the Bremont Alt 1C Griffin, which is a tribute to the Spitfire. Really good looking watch. Faux patina on the dial there with the numerals. And the hands, I think it's just a really good looking watch. Date down there at 6. 2 sub-register, so bicompax chronograph, exhibition caseback showing their Bremont caliber 13 4 1/4 or quarter 13 1/4. They have some really weird long name for their movement basically, but it's a heavily modified ETA essentially inside here. But really well done with their triptych case, so it is composed of 3 components: the front, the top case, mid case, and case back. The mid case allows for better shock protection. It's an in-house design that they made, and they used to produce back in Silverstone. I don't think they do anymore. I think it's all made in their new facility, which looks very impressive, and I would like to check out one day. But a very good looking watch. Does come with a strap, as you can see, and this one is from June 2021, so you're getting yourself again a watch with its full warranty. But a really good looking watch. Definitely on the bigger side. You either love the Bremonts or you don't. I think you sort of split into 2 camps for the most part. Design wise, I think this is fantastic. So let's put it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. As you can see, as I said, slightly bigger. 43mm by 49.5mm lug to lug. So perfectly under that 50mm lug to lug I always go on about. So whilst it is a bigger watch, it still wears relatively well. 16mm thick, so it's definitely a chunky monkey on the wrist, and 22mm lugs. Again, they feature slightly curved spring bars, which just helps with the wearability against the case, but you can totally get away with a straight spring bar in this, just about, depending on the thickness of the strap. But I would recommend always trying to reuse the spring bars, the OEMs, where you can. So go check this one out on the website. Going to be jumping around a lot in this drop, I can tell, but let's go on to a very interesting Wempe. Next up, a piece from a brand you do not see often, Wempe or however you want to say it. There's so many different ways, but this is the Wempe Iron Walker. As you can see, Glasuta down there. Really well made, really beautiful design. It reminds me, a couple of people have said different things, which I think is quite interesting. Some people say it reminds them of an older generation IWC Aqua, well, God, I just forgot the name, right there on the spot, the 222 basically. It definitely does look like that. To me, it looks like the Vacheron Overseas, but it's definitely of that ilk of integrated sports watches. You know, the AP, the Patek, and why not? You know, everyone's doing it. It's a good looking design, and if you can do it slightly different, which I feel like they've done, then fair play, you know, definitely do it. And this is built incredibly well, especially its retail price of £2,100, which I think is really fair for how much you're getting, especially when you consider inside is a chronometer ETA 2892-A2, 40mm, really well built bracelet. I do wish it had a push release for the clasp. Right now it's just a friction fit with a folding clasp, which is a bit tight, but that's good. You'd rather it be tight than loose. You can see case back right there as well, really nicely designed motive. This one is still essentially new. I mean, it's probably been worn 2 or 3 times total. We'll make it 4 when we put it on wrist. As a lot of people like to point out, you can't say it's unworn and then put it on wrist, but hey, whatever. Let's put this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. Just fits like a glove. Super nice. 40mm by 45mm lug to lug, 10mm thick, so nice and thin, and 11mm on the integrate bracelet there, but obviously flares out and tapers down ever so slightly. It feels very comfortable. It feels far more expensive than it is, and you're saving yourself a nice little bit of money on retail by picking it up pre-owned. But to be honest, calling this pre-owned, I mean, sure, you might find a couple of hairline scratches, but it's as good as you're going to get without going in and spending £2,100. So go check it out. Let's stick with modern, let's get it finished. We have the Oris 65 Toppers Edition. Next up, the Oris and Toppers Edition. So Toppers is a US retailer, and they did this very interesting limited edition of 165 pieces. Really cool design. It is slightly larger at the 42, and the story goes they wanted to design the 65 as if it was being made today. What would they do differently? And their thought was just really the size, no date, and this pop of orange. fair enough, it looks really good. You've still got those Art Deco numerals. I'm unsure, but I don't think you can get the 42 with the Art Deco. I could be wrong, so maybe that's another point of difference of this model. But again, your normal bracelet that you've come to expect on the Divers 65, the sort of fake rivet bracelet, polished case back with the number out of 165 stated. And inside here is the Oris Caliber 733, which is essentially a Sellita SW200. No iconic red rotor on this one that you can see because of obviously the closed case back. And this one is from December 2020. It does come with its full box and papers and all spare links. But let's show on wrist and show how well that 42mm wears, because I know that'll be putting a few people off, but you'll be surprised. And here we go on wrist. So 42mm, yes, and it does wear really, really well. 42mm by 50.5mm lug to lug. Now, I like to compare this with how Speedmaster wears, because whilst it's 42mm, it's not the longest lug to lug in the world, so it still wears really well on the wrist, nice and compact. Only 13mm thick and 21mm lugs, a little bit odd on the lug size. But again, strap options are still available to be got. But luckily, you got the bracelet, and this is a watch I really like on the bracelet, so go check it out. From a 42mm special edition to a 40mm standard edition, which is awesome, the Oris 65 Divers. Next up is my favourite of the Oris 65 lineup, the classic all black with the Art Deco numerals date down there. This one is on its Tropic rubber strap, which is probably one of the nicest and most comfortable Tropics that is made at the moment. I think Oris really have nailed this strap. But this is pretty much the same watch we just looked at, but in 40mm, not limited edition, still with the same Oris automatic caliber 733, so Sellita SW200. Now this one is from January 2018. It does come with its box and paperwork, but not the Oris paperwork. So this was bought from Joma Shop back then, which is a grey market dealer, so they don't provide the original warranty card, but instead their warranty card. But it's all, you know, obviously still good. So yeah, and it comes back with our 12-month warranty. But not an awful lot to say. I think they've nailed the design, the Art Deco numerals. We've had multiple of these in. They always do really well. And they're really fair price retail. So when you get pre-owned, they become even better. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on wrist. So 40mm by 48mm lug to lug. Really nice and compact on the wrist. Only 12.5mm thick and more traditional 20mm lug. So endless options if you don't like the black Tropic. A nice sort of brown leather actually looks really good in my opinion. But I like a brown leather on everything. So go check this one out on the website. Pick up a nice deal before Christmas. Now that modern's out the way, let's switch to vintage, and we're going to have a look at a gorgeous 1926-27 thereabouts 14 karat yellow gold Longines. Now for a time capsule basically with this 1926-27 Longines cased in 14 karat yellow gold, really gorgeous condition. Beautiful original dial, original loom on those really bold Art Deco numerals, and those hands. I mean, just look at that radium just popping, and that blued of the steel. This is a really gorgeous watch, and there's been a lot of interest, and you can see why. I mean, circa 1926-27 being in this condition, we are approaching 100 years old at this point, which is insane to think. Something this beautiful is nearly 100 years old and still very functional. We'll talk about case size in a minute. It does come on this custom suede strap tailor strap, which will fit probably, it just about fits me on the last hole, and I have a 6 3/4, nearly 7 inch wrist. So for most people, you may need a longer strap, which we can get sorted for you. But the blue, I think, really works on it. It looks really good. And it's just a really good looking watch. But this is definitely a smaller watch, so this isn't for the guy or lady out there who really likes a sort of 34+ mil watch. This does wear small, but it's really classic and beautiful, and I think you can definitely get away with it if you're the kind of person who's just confident wearing it. So let's put it on wrist and taut dimensions. So here we go on my wrist. It's certainly, as I said, a small watch, maybe more considered towards a lady's watch today, but I know many men who would happily wear this and really pull it off in my opinion. So 27mm by 31.5mm lug to lug, 8.5mm thick, and 17 to 17.2mm lugs. And they're open, you need open-ended straps because that's a solid gold lug bar that you can't obviously open. So keep that in mind, you will need open-ended straps. But a gorgeous watch, so go check it out. Now to my second favourite on the table, and it is an awesome Nevada Grinching. Let's have a closer look. So next up is this awesome 1960s Nevada Grinching alarm. That isn't a GMT as some people think, that is an alarm. Now, interestingly, the way this watch works, you can see you have a pusher up there, and if you press that pusher, it pops out the crown. Now you can move the alarm. If I push it all the way, there you go. Now you can move the alarm around to where you want it to be. That's how you set the alarm. When you push that back in, the crown, as you can see, pops out. The pusher, sorry. And now, if you wind backwards, which sounds counterintuitive, if you wind backwards in the neutral position, you're winding the watch. So keep that in mind. That's how you wind the watch, because it's a manually wound watch. If you wind forward, you're now winding the alarm. So there is two mainsprings inside, one that powers the alarm, one that powers the watch. So keep that in mind. And when you pull out the crown, you can only move one way. And when you go around, and we'll demonstrate this, get to the alarm. I've only wound it a bit, but here we go. Pull that up to the microphone. So there you go. That is how the alarm feature works. So I would say, if you're out and about and you don't want that going off, make sure you don't wind the traditional way, wind the backwards way. As long as the alarm isn't wound, it's not going to work. If the alarm is wound, it will work, and it will go until it runs out of power through that balance, basically. Hope that all makes sense. But really gorgeous watch, friction fit bezel, original Nevada sign crown, original case back, everything like that. And inside, interestingly, is a Vulcain caliber 120. For those of you that know Vulcain, they did the cricket, which is also an alarm movement, very, very famous. And I believe actually they've come back and redone the watch, I think. But this is a really, really gorgeous piece with a very historically important movement. And just a really cool design. But let's show on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go, absolutely stunning on wrist at 35 millimeters by, let me just look for it, there we go, 35 millimeters by 42 mil lug to lug, 12 mil thick and 18 mil lugs. Endless options, really nice case, really nice design, and quite a funky movement. That's definitely a party trick that you can show people, that it's all mechanical. How cool is that? Alright, go check it out on the website. Closing in on the end, and we have something either for the ladies out there or gentlemen who like smaller watches. I know a few of you guys have already inquired about this. It's an Omega Seamaster 120. Next is a really cute Omega Seamaster 120. I would say this is a ladies. I think it was advertised as a ladies when it came out, not mid-size, but I do know a few gents who wear this watch. Same with the Longines. If you're comfortable and confident wearing a smaller watch, go for it. Who cares what anyone else says or thinks? At the end of the day, most people really don't actually notice your watch. That's the true reality. As much as watch guys and girls like to think they do, the mass majority of people really don't. But this is a very nice condition, original crown, nice case back, manually wound movement, and it comes on a period correct tropic, as it should. Really gorgeous loom, and that is definitely the highlight of this piece in my opinion. Just a really good example, perfect for a gift for Christmas, for your significant other, or for yourself, you know, just treat yourself for Christmas. But let's show it on wrist, taut dimensions, and you can see what it looks like on my 6 3/4 inch wrist to get a good point of reference. And here we go. I've got to talk about reference, but it's a 535.007. It's from circa 1967, so a nice late 60s diver. 31 mil by 36.5 mil, 9.5 mil thick, and 16 mil lugs. And there you go on my wrist. You be the decider of if this is something you'd wear or not. But either way, buy what you like and wear what you like. That's the most important thing. And last but certainly not least, we're going to have a look at a Rotary Aqua Plunger. Let's take a closer look. I think people are starting to wake up to Rotary. Vintage Rotary is incredible, especially for the money. You know, a lot of people unfortunately associate vintage Rotary with how they are modern. It couldn't be further from the truth. Vintage Rotary is incredible, nice Swiss made, using very good movements, and this is a perfect example. This is a Rotary Rotomatic Aqua Plunger. Has Aqua Plunger stated on the case back there. Some of the earlier models had it stated on the dial, but this is a later model than that. Really gorgeous arrow hands with nice matching loom to the dial. Interesting friction fit bezel. It's just a really good looking watch. Date over there. Nice case, nice condition. Chrome crown, which can be replaced if you want a nice new one, but it's still very usable. It's a bit smaller, so winding that with the bezel there can be a bit difficult. But luckily inside is an automatic AS caliber 1700/01, and this watch is from circa 1960s. We paired it on this nice black strap, But to be honest, a nice brown or anything would look really good. But I'm trying to not put everything on brown straps because apparently I use them too often. So here you go. This one's on a black strap. Happy days. Let's show on wrist, talk dimensions. And here we go on wrist. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous, especially with the way that dial glistens with the glossy finish. You know, very reminiscent of early 60s Submariners in my opinion. But anyway, so 35.5mm, you'll see some places that say 36. I think they just round it up, to be honest, because it's about 35.5 by 42mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 18mm lugs. So endless options. Go check this one out on the website if you're looking for a vintage diver that isn't going to break the bank, but is super cool and looks amazing. So there you have it, guys and girls, 2021. This is the final drop. It feels quite surreal to say that, and we're going to be going into the new year. We're going to be figuring things out. We haven't got an awful lot ready for January, but I think that's going to change fairly quickly once we come back. So if you do have a watch you want to sell, get in contact. info@kibblewatches.co.uk. The sell form on the website, nice and simple. But there's definitely a lot in the works, and we're very, very excited for what next year is going to hold. I think, and it's crazy to sit here and say this, because each year I feel like I've been in this same position come December, saying this year was an incredible pinnacle year for Kibble Watches, but next year is going to be better. And it feels very, very good to be able to say that yet again for another year. So 2022, I mean, we have, at this moment in time, almost tripled last year's sales. And everything isn't just about the sales, but it's always a good indicator of how well you're doing. Whether you'd like to agree with that or not, it is an indicator. So that is incredible, tripling almost last year. What does next year hold? You know, that's the exciting part. So keep an eye out for our update video, which hopefully will get done, and just a thank you video for 2021. But either way, this has been incredible. If you don't get to see that video or we don't get it done, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Have a drink on us as well, and we look forward to seeing you in the new year. So take care, be safe, and we'll see you all again soon.